Okay, so here's our cuff. We're going to fold it over, and half of the stitches are going to go on the back bed and half of the stitches are going to go on the front bed. The open end, you can put the open end on either end. Just when you make the socks mate, flip it around and put the open end on the other end for when you make the mate, if you want to be perfect about it. So we're going to have half as many needles now on front and back bed. We're going to have 36 on back and 36 on front instead of the 72. So we need to get rid of those extra needles. And actually they're already down on the front. So we're going to pull up 36 on the front, which is 15, 18 on either side of 0. Okay, and 36 on the back. I always need to double check my numbers here. Sometimes I look at this too quick and I'll have like 28 over on this side and only 18 over on this side, or 10 over here and 20 over here because I wasn't paying attention. So it looks like they're even. And looks like I have my lock over on this side, so I got to get it back over to the other side. So make sure I put this on GX. And there we go. Get that over there. And so we're going to drop our beds, or drop the front bed down, and get ready to hang this guy up. Kind of got to squish it up through the beds here. And you try not to stretch these stitches out too much, but they're going to stretch some when you hang this up. But you'll find in the finished product it doesn't really matter. It looks like they're really overstretched, but it turns out okay. Okay, so next I need to find where my waste yarn is coming from, and I need to undo my waste yarn. What I did was I hung all my stitches. They hung up pretty quick. I didn't have too hard of a time with it. It was actually pretty easy. The main trick to this, I think now that I've had some difficult times hanging this up, is once you hang these first few stitches on either end and it's all stretched out, you want to count how many stitches you have left there and make sure that you didn't mishang something on the end, or that you're not skipping one over in the middle, or that you didn't accidentally pull out an extra needle over here, or that you're hanging them onto a few needles. So double check everything and just make that little count that you're sure that you're going to have enough stitches and you're not going to come up short when you're hanging them back on your needles. And so what I did was I counted, and sure enough it was okay on both ends. Oh, there was one stitch hiding down in here on one end, and I had to pull that out, and that made the count even. So I'm going to tuck my waste yarn down, or not that marker yarn down in there, and so it's not in the way. And then I have to find where my waste yarn is coming from and just unravel it. So it'll take a minute here. Once you get up to the top, it might stick on a few stitches, and So just be careful. Don't be forceful with it. You want it to, if it's stuck on a stitch, if you have to, you can, carefully cut it off, or you can just gently pull it through from the other end. Almost there. I did make quite a few rows of waste yarn, but I think it's worth it for this particular task. Okay, so now it's coming out the top. Yeah, it's coming out of there pretty easy. Yay! Okay, so before I do anything else, I'm going to rehang my weights, because once I squash these two beds together again, I'm probably just going to need to put like 2 weights on there, one front and one back for now, and then I'll put the rest on later. But when I squish these 2 beds up, I don't want the yarn puffing up and popping off the needles. So there we go. Looks pretty good. And I can neaten them up here, neaten up my needles. And I can take the comb and just gently give it a little push too and neaten it up that way. Okay, so now I'm ready to knit circular, and I'm going to start my leg. Got our black strippers in still. The lock is going to be set to CX. So CX on the front, CX on the back. Sorry you can't see this part, but I'm sure you know how to change the locks. And then 5 1/4 stitch length on both front and back locks. And that's the stitch length we're going to have for the rest of the sock. So black strippers, and then it says to knit to row count of 52. Okay, there's 52 rows, so now it's time to knit the heel.